It's good to know that Michael Ball kept up the tradition of Javert spitting a lot in these concerts. Les Miserables, the stage concert, is the newest concert of Les Miserables, this time starring Alfie, who also played Jean Valjean in the 25th anniversary, Michael Ball, who used to play Marius in the 10th anniversary, he's now playing Javert, Carrie Fletcher, who plays Fantine, Matt Lucas, who plays Thénardier, and he was in the 25th anniversary, Katie Seacom as Madame Thénardier, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Rob Houchin as Marius, Bradley Jaden as Enjolras, Shan Ako as Eponine, I'm sorry if I pronounced any of your names wrong, and Lily Kerhos as Cosette. This is, in my opinion, the best Les Mis has ever been. I know what you're thinking, oh, it's just a new thing, you think it's the best. It had to be a lot for it to be the best considering how much I love both the other concerts and especially the 2014 revival with Ramin Karimloo. I love all those a lot. The fact that this one surpassed that is so impressive. This one is fantastic. It brought me to tears in the final scene, and I'm going to talk about it without spoiling it because I don't feel like I should, because this was in theaters for one night only, at least for me, and many people won't get to see this until it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD, so I don't want to spoil anything, something else that they added without like it being a massive spoiler. I'll talk about some of the little things they added, but that's it. This is fantastic. It is a perfect edition of Les Miserables. Alfie was great in the 25th anniversary. From then on, he was easily one of my favorite Jean Valjeans, but in this, he even goes up the list even higher. Currently he's at number 2, only behind Ramin Karimloo, but I feel like there are some songs that he does better and some songs that Ramin does better. Best way to explain his voice is the way that my mom did. She said it's so pure. He hits all the high notes perfectly and all the low notes perfectly. His voice just, it flows so nicely with his character, and you know, I've seen him before, but I feel like this is a better performance than he did at the 25th anniversary in every single way. He has more power in his voice. One moment that I was really excited to see the difference is my favorite song from the show, Bring Him Home. And there's a noticeable difference in here in the 25th anniversary in the biggest part of the song, If I Die, and that one he's like, if I die, and like kind of brought up the volume. I can't play the clip just because copyright, but he keeps it, if I die, and it just goes smooth the entire time. I know that's an awful way of explaining it, but if you've seen it, you probably know what I mean. And Michael Ball, he's amazing as Javert. Before I saw this, I tweeted, I'm going to watch it, I've never been more excited in my life. But the one thing I was super excited for was the Confrontation. That song would feature Alfie and Michael Ball. And I'll talk about that moment in just a minute after I finish talking about Michael Ball. He is fantastic in this. When he first came on screen and we got like the prologue, I was like, okay, this is not what I expected, because there are some lines where he holds on a note and then he speeds something up. So it's like, do not forget me, 24601. And he like he says notes slower and then he goes 24601, whereas other people would be 24601, you know? But when it gets past later on, I was like, he might be the best. It's a very hard decision because I have only seen this one once, so I won't make any list, I think, until I've seen this one a few more times. I want to make kind of like my dream cast list for Les Miserables, but I feel like I'll have to do that after at least this gets like a proper album release, or at least all of it's on YouTube. The only thing you can find on YouTube of this recorded show is something they do with the character of Javert with two people after the show ends, and then my favorite part of One Day More where Enjolras comes in, and that clip will be played over top of this review. The Confrontation is something I really want to talk about because, as I said, I was super excited for it. And if I'm being honest, I kind of started sweating during it, and I didn't realize it until after, because I was going like this, and I kind of relaxed after. I went and I was like, I'm sweating. I didn't realize I was sweating. It's insanely intense. It's the most intense it's ever been. It really brings so much emotion, and this is easily the most emotional the show has ever been. Carrie Fletcher is my favorite Fantine I've ever seen. I know I said, oh, I don't know exactly, but for this one, I definitely do know. She is perfect as Fantine. She hits every single note perfectly, and there's one thing about Fantine, the character, is that in some of them, when she says, let me die instead, that line, sometimes some of the actors have done what I just did there, where they say, let me die instead, which I was like, okay, but no, she did this perfectly, and her I Dreamed a Dream, it's moving. This is easily the funniest Les Mis has ever been, and all of that, basically, is due to Matt Lucas and Katie Saccone. They are so funny in this, where I know tons of the lines in it, but they say them in different ways, you know, because he was Thénardier at the 25th anniversary. But this is also a much better performance because they have little moments where they're talking on the side or they say stuff in between some of the lyrics, and my audience loved it, and the audience there, like, because it's a live recording of a concert, loved it too. They're so much more clear with their notes, everyone is, so sometimes some words, I couldn't exactly tell what they were saying. I don't want to say an example, just because it sounds like I'm dissing their other version for any of the characters, but I'm really not. This is fantastic. I'm gonna go a bit quicker just so this review isn't only about the acting. The students, most importantly, Enjolras and Marius. Those two guys, Bradley Jaden and Rob Huchin, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. These guys are amazing. Marius is a character I love, obviously, everyone loves him, but I've always, for some reason, enjoyed Enjolras more as a character. I think a lot of that is due to Ramin Karimlou's performance in the 25th anniversary, him being my favorite musical theater actor and having my favorite voice ever. But Bradley Jaden comes close to my favorite. He's at my second favorite, you know. I've really liked a lot of them who have played Enjolras, but this guy is fantastic. He will be playing Javert next, maybe even by the time I'm sending out this review, that he's moving on to play Javert at the Sondheim Theater next door to where this was recorded. He hits every single note he has to do perfectly in the exact way I want it to be done. And then Rob Huchin is fantastic as Marius. There's one line that I remember that he says that I never understood until he said it, and it's the first, I think, line of A Heart Full of Love, where he's like, a heart full of love, a heart full of song, I think that's it, I'm doing everything all wrong. He says it, I didn't understand what that meant, and if I'm like, oh, he's trying to speak to Cosette, and then he's messing up what he's saying, and he's not saying it right. That was the first time I've ever noticed this, and I've listened to Les Mis so much for over a year. One of the best things he does in the entire thing is his empty chairs and empty tables. After that, you can see a tear going down his face, because he cried during the song, and still performed it perfectly. Shan Ako and Lily Kurhaus, I'm sorry if I pronounced your names wrong again, are so good in this. Shan Ako comes really close. I think her and Samantha Barks are probably tied for my favorite Eponine. I have to listen to her more, as I said, but On My Own by her is, oh my god, it is heartbreaking. It really shows the true emotion of that song, and her in A Little Fall of Rain is so good. She sings so well throughout this entire thing. Lily Kurhaus, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, is fantastic as Cosette. She has a beautiful voice, especially in My Life. That was a big standout for me, and I really bought her relationship between Cosette and Marius. I just have to mention one thing, because I know this will be a longer review. There's something they do at the start of this, this isn't a spoiler, it's before the show actually starts, and they take, like, I think it's called the Yeller's Call. You at the barricade, listen to this. And they change it, so they change it about turning off your phone, no pictures or no videos and stuff, and I thought that was probably the smartest thing they've ever done. And this is probably the best shot of any of the concerts. There's one scene, and it's in the, I think it's like the finale, I don't exactly know the name of the song. It's like Valjean, he's wearing all the white big top. Alone I wait in the shadows, I think that's the lyric, and the camera guy goes doof, doof, and like locks in. He kind of messes up, but everything else, it's so smooth. The way it kind of pans in, and there's lots of crane shots, I guess, but no, you see like the camera on the arm, which would suck to sit behind the camera, but it raises up above the actors. It really is so well done, and the lighting in one scene, I can't exactly say what happens, but I'll say there's multiple deaths in a row where it's like and the way they show that is with the use of lights flashing on the person that go, because it's not a like a stage performance. It's a concert. They're standing in front of microphones and they have microphones. Bradley Jaden, I noticed a lot of the time, doesn't use the big stand microphones, but he uses the one on him when he turns to talk to someone, which I was really glad. He was fantastic. Everyone in this was fantastic. But that scene in the 25th anniversary, those characters who die, you don't exactly know that they die, they just don't show up later on. The camera movements were awesome, the editing was great. I praised the editing of the 25th anniversary in my review. I mentioned how it's really good. I think this easily has better editing, better performances, because in the 25th anniversary, I'm sorry, there's so much comparing this. You know, there's no weak links in this one. In the 25th anniversary, lots of people hate on Nick Jonas. I don't hate him. I don't think he's great. He's not bad. He's just kind of okay. He has some really good moments and he has some not so good moments, and the fact that he's singing beside Ramin Karimloo really doesn't help. But I really like his music as the Jonas Brothers. In this, there's not one person where you go, oh yeah, they're a standout as lesser than everyone else. No, there isn't. Everyone is fantastic. This is the best adaptation of Les Mis I've ever seen. This is pure art. I loved everything about it. There's not a lot that I can say more, just because I don't want to spoil anything, but I want to say one thing I just remembered. The music, like the actual music, has a much deeper tone to it. I think that's really effective with a lot of these voices, you know, Alfie Boe, Michael Ball, all them. They have very deep voices and it really helps, and it's very distinct compared to the other ones. I'm so thankful that they recorded this, because when they first announced it, I put on my Instagram story, follow me, that I really want them to record this and then release it. And when they did, I was so excited that they would, and that was months ago, back in I think April maybe. I loved it, and I hope all of you who really want to see this get the chance to, even if it's in a few months. I highly recommend it for any musical fan, and I really would say anyone, but not a lot of people of my generation watch musicals anymore. They just listen to shitty rap music. Les Miserables, the stage concert, is fantastic. It is everything I wanted. There are scenes. This is how good it is. I was probably, I think, the youngest person in there and the only one under 40 years old, or maybe 35. But there are scenes, Bring Him Home, Stars, and a few people for the confrontation, where right before they started singing, I heard this. Everyone, basically in the theater, readjusted because they knew what was about to happen. And when they heard the da-da-da-da, 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 right after Bring Him Home, where it's like, you at the barricade, listen to this. I heard so many people go, because they're breathing out of what just happened for Bring Him Home, and they're about to intake lots of violence. Well, kind of. Lots of war. Les Miserables, the stage concert, is the best Les Mis has ever been. I've said that so many times, but it is true. And I'm gonna give Les Miserables, the stage concert, an A+. This is probably my favorite thing I've seen this year. A lot of you will not agree with me, but a lot of you don't have Les Mis being as important it is to you as it is to me. I know there will be a lot of Les Mis fans who watch this, and if you did watch this, please comment what you thought of it down below, and tell me what is your favorite song of Les Mis. I want to do a video on my top 10 songs from it, but they changed so much. I did top 10 of my favorite Phantom songs. Phantom of the Opera, which is my favorite musical. This is my second favorite, and a lot of those songs have changed. So I want to update both of those very soon, maybe in a month or two or so, something like that. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Over and out.